And allegedly, we're live. So, hello, friends. This is Joe from McCleer Law Office, Oshkosh Elder Law and Estate Planning, here with a McCleer Law Live, where we'll be discussing updates to long term care costs and long term care cost projections from Genworth. They just released their 2020 cost of care survey and they updated their cost of care calculator. So I'm going to do another tutorial about how to find that calculator and how to utilize it. And we'll just talk about what is going on with the future of long-term care costs, both here in the Oshkosh area, in Wisconsin at large, and in other parts of the country as well. So yeah, big deal. It's a big event once a year. What was that? That Steve Martin movie, was it In the Jerk, where all of a sudden he goes like, "Oh, the phone books are here. The phone books are here." Well, for me, it's the long-term care cost projections are here. The long-term care cost projections are here. It's a big event. I'll get into it in just a bit. I just want to give you an update about what's going on with the office. I'm still at home. Still have the office, obviously. That's on 128 State Street. I moved in there in May. I still haven't really unpacked there. When I meet with you guys, when I meet with clients, it'll be there at the office. But to keep things as safe as possible, I'm working out of my basement primarily. Most of my meetings are being handled remotely, over the phone, or over Zoom, or some other video chat service. I'm also right now kind of a part-time homeschool teacher. My wife and I, we partnered with two other families who have kids the exact same age as ours. We have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and so do these two other families, and we've organized a pod so the 5-year-olds can attend virtual kindergarten, and the 3-year-olds will basically be in a daycare service. But we pass the kids back and forth every Monday. We have 6 kids, 5 and under, at our house, and 2 out of every 3 Wednesdays, the same story. So if you're wanting to get a hold of me, Mondays are never going to be good because I am going to be focusing on taking care of the kids. Most Wednesdays are going to be iffy as well. Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I can spend all the time I can working. I work on the weekends as well, but my phones are shut off. But just beg patience. If you leave me a voicemail, if you call me, odds are you're going to get the voicemail. If you leave a voicemail, give a day or two before you try calling me back again, because it may take a day or two for me to get back to you. Same with emails. Sometimes I can get back to you the same day, but other times it might take a day. So this will continue on probably for the rest of the school year. I can't say what's going to happen after that, but hopefully now that the inoculations of the shots are being passed around, hopefully we'll all get them soon, and we'll get back to somewhat normalcy. Anyway, that's that. Let's talk long-term care projections. So it's the Genworth cost of care calculator. So I'll show you once again. You just go to Google, and this is how you find it. Very easy. Genworth cost of care. That's it. Guarantee you, it's going to be the first link. I can't say the same is going to be for Yahoo or Bing. I don't know why you would use those anyway. Use Google. So first one, cost of care survey right here. And so these are the 2020 numbers. And this is what the homepage looks like. And the calculator is down here. So we start off, you can see the nationwide averages, and it starts you off on monthly. You can choose hourly, which is more for care at home from a caregiver. You're going to be getting the hourly rates. Daily rates, and these are median costs. Daily rates, monthly rates, and annual rates. Median cost meaning it's not the average, so to speak. You don't take all of the numbers that come in and just add them up and divide by the number to get the average, because that can be heavily swayed by a couple very expensive facilities or a couple very inexpensive facilities, and you wouldn't get the true idea of what the cost may be in a particular area. So median, is just line up all the costs, least expensive to most expensive, and then take the middle one. The middle one's the median. So this is what these numbers are going to represent. You start off with the national rates. This would be for countrywide, and they look at it through many different cities, many different metropolitan areas throughout every state. And what you can find down here are these costs right here, which you can manipulate, and I'll show you how in a little bit. So home health aid, homemaker services, the median cost, they're going to presume that we're looking at about the use of about 7 to 8 hours a day for these services. And so a monthly rate nationwide about $4,500 for care at home. If you're looking at assisted living facilities nationwide, it's about $4,300. You're going to see that Wisconsin and particularly Oshkosh is a lot more expensive. Adult day health care. So I talked about this in another video. Essentially, what this is I mean, it is what it sounds like, adult daycare. So for folks who are at home, who are getting their care at home, and maybe they have a professional healthcare worker coming in or somebody from their family is taking care of them, but they're not available during the day. Say if it's an adult child taking care of a parent, but they got to work. They have a job. They work 8 to 10 hours a day. So what do they do with their parents? They go to these adult daycare facilities, and it's more useful to see the daily costs here. So you see daily costs would be median $74 a day for that cost. So monthly, so you usually can combine this with the home health aid costs, or you get rid of this if it's somebody in the family. I mean, if it's somebody in the family, you can still get paid. But if not, then these would be the costs you'd be looking at. Nursing home facilities, obviously the most expensive, unless you're getting around-the-clock care at home. Generally, nursing home facilities are going to be the most expensive. So nationwide, you're looking at $8,800 a month for a private room. A semi-private room means not private. It means you have a roommate, somebody you probably don't know. I haven't had that situation since my freshman year of college. So most people would prefer, if they can, have a private room. And so these are generally the costs you'd be looking at. The future costs, you can look out what is being projected for 50 years. How they determine that is if you click on annual, they look at the percent change for the median costs in various areas from last year. And how they calculate the future costs is, I think they take the last 5 years or so. I mean, I haven't read the mechanism how they do it, but I would presume it's something they take the last 5 years and they project out into the future based on those increases. So, as you see, it's going up. Assisted living facility went up 6% nationwide. Nursing home about 3.5%. So you can project it out. So if you look at it annually, and it's pretty cool, it'll show you the current cost as well. So annually for a nursing home, about $105,000, $106,000 a year. If you were to look out 10 years, right here, you can see that in the darker blue is the current cost still, and the lighter blue, it'll show you the projected cost for whatever date you're going for. So for 10 years, it's going to jump, by the beginning of next decade, it's going to jump from about $105,000, $106,000 to over $142,000 a year for a private room in a nursing facility nationwide. And you can go all the way up to 50 years in the future if you want to project. So if you're not thinking, well, I'm not going to need any care now or anytime soon, but I don't know, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years down the line, you can get a good idea of what the cost might be. That's nationwide, but who cares? Nationwide, there's too much variance in there. Let's go back to monthly here. Let's go to Wisconsin, and this right here is how you can decide where you want to look at. So Wisconsin, so you just type in, and then you got to click on one of these options down here. So if we're just going to go Wisconsin, USA, that's going to bring us to statewide. And as you can see, the map's going to zoom in to the state. Every one of these markers here is for a region in the state where they have their own projections as well. Oshkosh is one of them. Fond du Lac's one of them. Appleton's one of them. We'll look at Oshkosh in a little bit, but let's look at statewide right now for monthly current costs and then projections. So home health aid, homemaker services. I find it odd that these would be the same. I would have to say home health aid actually has to be a little bit more expensive. But here we're talking just under $5,000 a month. That is more expensive than the national median. Assisted living facility, slightly more expensive, $4,400 a month. And private room in a nursing home, absolutely more expensive, almost $9,500 a month. Annually, so you can see here, $113,000 a year for a private room in a nursing facility. That hasn't changed much from last year. We're going to see something weird when we get to Oshkosh. It's actually kind of encouraging, but I think the COVID year has really, really thrown a wrench into what would possibly be considered normal for these costs. This is not a big jump. We're happy about that. So we see, but still, obviously expensive. If we look out 10 years, over $150,000. $152,000 by 2030. Yeah. So sometime between 2029, 2030 is when you're going to top the statewide median for a private room in a nursing facility. Is going to top $150,000. Okay, now let's look at Oshkosh. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can zoom in here and you can click on Oshkosh. But the easiest way, I think, rather than bothering that, just type in Oshkosh. As you can see, there's actually an Oshkosh, Nebraska. That's worthy of note, but who cares about them? Let's talk to us. Oshkosh area. All right. Yeah, I'll just stick with annual. Well, let's start with hourly, because here we're going to start looking at home health aid. This is what you're really looking at here. $26 on median. That's definitely gone up over the last couple of years. It had been $23 fairly recently, I'm pretty sure. $26 an hour for home health aid in the median cost in the Oshkosh area. Daily, what you're really going to be concerned with is, I'm surprised I don't have adult day care, that information here. That would be the important one for a daily cost, but they don't. Yeah, all right, and here's another thing that's bothering me about the Oshkosh projections. The exact same thing happened last year, is that the semi-private room and the private rooms have the same medians. That cannot be right. That cannot be right, because then who would ever pick a semi-private room if it's not going to cost any more to go private? They had the same thing last year. I don't know. Their calculations or the evidence or the numbers that they're gathering must be kind of screwy for our area for whatever reason. But as you can see, assisted living facility, this is $500 a month more in our area than statewide. Statewide was about $4,400. This is over $4,900. Private room, I think this is slightly less, if I recall, than the statewide, which is a big change, because recently we had been in the top 5 in the state, but now we're even below the state median. Let's look at the annual cost. So yeah, that is about slightly less than the state median, $111,000. And look at this. This is wild here. Down 1.5% from last year. This has to be COVID related somehow. Assisted living facilities down over 10%. This was well over $60,000, over $65,000 last year. Has to be COVID related. You can't think that these drops are going to continue once things go back to normal. But bully for us for this year anyway. So if you're going to look out 10 years. So yeah, I remember looking at the projections last year, and it was at 2029 when this projected median cost topped $150,000. Now we're relieved to get to that level until sometime around 2031. So still costly, obviously. But boy, look at the cost of even assisted living facilities by that time. $81,000 a year for an assisted living facility. There are some areas in this country where that is a private room in a nursing home cost, at least right now. And that's the kind of cost we're going to be looking at. But look at that jump. Look at, 20, that's an amazing jump just over 11 years. If we're to go 20 years to 2040, over $106,000 for an assisted living facility per year. Over $200,000 a year for a private room in a nursing home. I'm gonna not show you what it's gonna be past that. You can play with that yourself if you want to. All right, so let's look at a couple other things, because what you can do is you can compare locations, which is pretty cool. So if we were to compare Oshkosh to the national average, now let's do Wisconsin average. All right, Wisconsin average. So Yeah, there's no way that these numbers should be the exact same. What are the odds of that? But as you can see, we are more expensive right now when it comes to assisted living facilities. We are slightly less expensive than it comes to at least private room pay for nursing facilities. And you could even, again, jump that out 10 years. You can see the projections where it's going to be. But who cares about statewide? Let's look at before we moved up to this area. My wife and I lived in Milwaukee for a spell. So the Milwaukee area, as you can see, thank goodness that you're not down there if assisted living and nursing home costs are a concern for you. Look how expensive this is here. Not so much more expensive in assisted living costs, but look at private room in a skilled nursing facility. That's $25,000 more per year in the Milwaukee area for a private room. Yeah, there's a couple more areas you can look at in the state: Racine, Madison, Wausau, Eau Claire, La Crosse, Fond du Lac, Appleton, Green Bay, and Sheboygan. I believe you can look at all of those for the state and get a good idea of what it's going to be, what it is now, what it's going to be. If you were to think about moving out of state, you have family elsewhere, or you spend winters in different areas, and you think about moving out of state. Let's say before I moved to Wisconsin, I lived in Tucson. Much less expensive, actually. $20,000 less per year for a private room in a skilled nursing facility. $10,000 less per year in an assisted living facility. Home health aid's about the same, but the facility rates are significantly less. Just one more thing, just before I. Sure, how about my grandparents? They used to spend their winters in North Fort Myers, Florida. The closest region, okay, so it'll show you the closest region to Cape Coral area. That's pretty cool. So you can look in a number of areas, and it'll show you the closest region. So Florida, about the same. I mean, these look like what the state medians were for Wisconsin here. So just show you an idea of what you can do. You can type in a city, and it'll either give you that city or some place that's relatively close geographically to give you a rough idea of what it's going to cost for long-term care costs. And that is it. To get out of here, to go back to the map, you just go to return to map view. And there you go. And yeah, so here are all the areas you can look at in the state of Wisconsin. I don't think I missed any. Milwaukee, Racine. Oh, Janesville is another one. And it's a handy tool. I often use these projections when talking to clients or prospective clients. I'm going to have to update one of my ads now, though, because I cite when the costs and the costs are going to go over $150,000. I think I got to update that now. So I'll be doing that. So that is it. It's Thursday. Everybody have a good rest of the week. And if you want to talk about, if these costs concern you, want to talk about your options, give my office a call, 920-221-0320. If you get the voicemail, don't be surprised. I will get back to you. Or shoot me an email at joe@mccleerlaw.com. That's MCCLEERLAW.com. That is it. Everyone, be well. God bless.